Benefactor underwriting for this broadcast has been provided by a grant from Republic Bank. The power of red is back. Major underwriting support for this broadcast has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, Perfect Building Maintenance, Customers Bank, Collins Building Services, Marks Paneth. Additional underwriting support has been provided by grants from AmTrust Title, Bank of America, Capital One Bank, Douglaston Development Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties LLC, Handler Real Estate Organization, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, John Catsimatidis Red Apple Group, New Banks, Meridian Capital Group, Ocean First Bank, RPW Group, TD Bank, the One Stop Property Group, and these friends.
So where do we see 2022? New mayor, change in governments. What do we see happening in the New York region? I don't really know the answer, but I do have a friend of mine by the name of John Catsimatidis, who's the chairman and CEO of the Red Apple Group and owner of many different opportunities and companies. And I want John in the next 25 minutes to give me his thoughts on the opportunities, the challenges, where we see 2022. So John, you are into the real estate business, you're in the energy business, you're in the development business, you're into the venture capital business. Where are the opportunities for a business person like you? And where are the opportunities for individuals in the marketplace, especially in the real estate marketplace, see in 2022?
It's getting harder and harder to define, Michael. I've always diversified and we've done well because of the 3 or 4 or 5 categories we're in of different businesses, including the investment business. 3 or 4 of them always do well when one might not be doing well. So we're covered. So the question is, what category is next?
Okay.
The real estate business has always been very good for us in New York City. And I have optimism that New York City real estate business will make a tremendous comeback.
You know, with regard to the optimism on the comeback over here, you know, we have a new mayor, but we have this affordable New York that you're very involved with, you know, where you put a portion of the apartments, like 30%, which are rent stabilized over there. We have a new controller who has different opinions on certain things. And then we have a new governor also involved and, council over there. You've been involved with residential real estate quite a bit over the last couple of years. You've put a big focus on Coney Island. Tell me what your thoughts about Coney Island, since I see new developments planned and taking place. And I believe you were even quoted the other day in a New York Times article about the ferry.
Coney Island has been an iconic part of New York City. It's the name Coney Island is world famous. We built 2 beautiful buildings there where the views are unbelievable. We have the capability of possibly maybe building 3 more buildings there. So we're just scratching our head. And we have the borough president of Brooklyn is now the mayor-elect of New York City, and the mayor effective January 1. And he's always been very pro-business and very optimistic about things. And he has put his foot down as far as crime in our cities. So the 2 big problems in our city was crime, I would say one of the biggest ones, education, and he's addressing both of those. So I'm optimistic that uh, the mayor, Eric Adams, is going to do a wonderful thing and make New York City come back. And we'll be looking to invest more money in New York under that scenario. Otherwise, we're already building a $400 million condos in the west coast of Florida, and we're looking for other sites there. So if New York doesn't go well, we're just going to switch focus and switch, where our next $1 billion is going to be spent.
But here's the question. You have built in downtown Brooklyn some great buildings, and you built these two new buildings in Coney Island as residential rentals. What's your thought about the condominium market for New York City in the future?
I always like the rental market because I want to pass something on to my children. And we are doing our first condominium in Florida, and Florida is more conducive to condominiums. I still love the rental market. We have the ability. I think New York is the greatest city in the world, and we have several sites ready to go. And we're keeping everything focused. But don't forget, the last 50 years of my life, or when I've run our companies, we've always diversified. So diversifying between New York and Florida and doing both or other that we will continue to do that.
But let's talk about the grocery business, which is the foundation of how you started everything, going back over 50 years ago. Where do you see the grocery business today, specifically with the two chains that you operate, and where you see the new entrants? As you noted, Trader Joe this month opened up 2 new locations. They're at 15 locations, and they're exceptionally bullish about New York City. What's John Catsimatidis' outlook on the grocery business in general, especially with today, there's 15-minute delivery services and other services like that, and for your operations being in the grocery business?
15-minute delivery services, unless you want to pay a very large amount, is not feasible. Internet business is good, but people always look for someplace convenient to shop. All the new stores opening up, whether it's Trader Joe's or are all non-union shops. We have always been unionized for the last 51 years, and the unions are not going after the non-union shops. And the question mark is going to be for whom do the bells toll? So the unions have to make a decision. Do they make their own members suffer, or are they going to try to unionize the competition that's coming into competition with their current union members? So that bridge is yet to be crossed, and we're looking for further discussions with them, and we've discussed it with them for the last few years, and we need a resolution.
For many years, you've owned office buildings, specifically, 823 11th Avenue is one of your buildings. What's your thoughts about the office market today? You moved from 11th Avenue to 3rd Avenue. What's going on? With the exception, there's no question that the people from the Red Apple Group are working 5 days a week in the office.
And we were 10 minutes away from buying the current office building that we're in. And then March of 2020 hit, and we took a step backwards a little bit. I think the office market is going to be tougher. It's not going to recover as fast as the rest of the items in New York City, not as fast as tourism. And there's going to be a lot of soul searching about New York City, the office markets over 2022, 2023. I don't know. Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan is building a beautiful building on Park Avenue. They're spending a lot of money on it. The question, how many employees did they originally plan to have in that building? And are they making plan B? I don't know. If I was CEO, I would say that if I'm responsible for a worldwide company like JP Morgan, I would not put all my, I love New York, and I hate to say this, but I would not put all my eggs in one basket in New York.
Since you always like to spread your risk, okay, what type of other real estate assets are you interested in? And what's your thoughts about the conversion of hotels into residential rental apartments?
I think they're panicking a little bit too much. I think they should wait and see how the tourism market recovers, because New York is still an iconic city. So I would, before they start coming up with all kinds of revisions on building or converting hotels, I think they should wait at least 6 more months before and see how the recovery is going.
Let's talk a little bit about your energy business, okay? You have a direct-to-consumer, you have quick wake shops. Let's talk about the energy business and your thoughts about, production in the future and shale and in general.
What's happening right now is a tremendous con game on the American people, the Americas. America has, when I say America, I mean Alaska, Canada, and the United States, has 100 years worth of oil. And right now, ever since the new administration has come over, I was disappointed at the fact they closed down the Keystone Pipeline, and they made it very, and they made it evident that fossil fuel industry is the enemy, which I believe is wrong. If I can explain it, the fact is when they closed down the pipeline, and they authorized the Russian pipeline. So what does that mean? Our pipeline is bad, the Russian pipeline is good. It doesn't pass the smell test. We caused oil to go from $40 a barrel to $80 a barrel. And what does that mean? America, and we're not using American oil. We went from 13.5 million barrels a day down to $11.5 million a barrel a day. So, and from 40 to 80. So what does that mean? We're paying the Russians $80 a barrel. We're paying OPEC $80 a barrel. We're not buying it from our own Americas, Canada, and Alaska. So what does that mean? We're making America poorer. We're making Russia and OPEC richer. Then the White House and the Washington has put their fingers on the button, trying to force our automobile companies to go electric. There's no real advantage to electric for Americans. And the electric cars will create other problems that they're not visualizing at this point. When you're in an electric car, it's like living underneath the Alpine Tower. Remember all the problems we had at the Alpine Tower with all the radiation? Look into a study on that. Now, the other additional problem is 90% of the batteries right now are made in China. So we go to electric cars, it makes America poorer, China richer. We keep making every move we do, we keep making America poorer. And I'm an immigrant, but I love America. I've been here since I was 6 months old. My 2 grandfathers were here since 1913. And I love America, and I want to stand up for America. And China needed lithium, etc., and cobalt to do their batteries for the electric cars. Well, we gave them Afghanistan. What does that mean? And the key is making America. Look, I don't hate the Chinese. I don't hate the Russians. I don't hate OPEC. It's about who is the better business people, who is the better businessman, And right now, they are taking advantage of us. And we are losing. America is losing. They are winning.
What's your thoughts about cryptocurrency and these other digital currencies? I
I
mean,
think it's a big. I think it's a big fraud. You know, if I do business with Bank of America or J.P. Morgan or HSBC, I know who's the chief responsible person if there's a fraud or anything like that. When it's cryptocurrency, if it blows up, the entire thing blows up. Who's the responsible person? There is nobody. It's a gigantic con game on the American people.
what's your thoughts about everybody investing in prop tech for real estate? I believe you've done some investments on that area also.
Oh, my son has been in charge of that on that end. And let's put it this way: my son is supposed to replace me over the next few years. So I've given him the leeway, and he's a smart kid. And I would have to ask him more so.
Okay. I believe it was in March of 2020, which I was there. You had a launch party for WABC. It looks like you're having a lot of fun and enjoying being in the media business. Where do you see the future in the media business?
I think it's tremendous. I enjoy getting the truth out. What I say on my radio show, I am pro common sense Democrats. I am pro common sense Republicans. I am pro common sense independents. Like the old days, we all sat around a round table and we argued all day long, but we made a deal and we had a beer at the end of the day. Now, what's happening now, I believe there's outside influences on on some of the people in our country. I believe foreign influences coming in and donating a lot of money to the wrong people. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned on socialism. I readily say that, look, Venezuela was the wealthiest country. Venezuela was the wealthiest country in South America 20 years ago, and it went from the wealthiest country to the poorest country. I don't want that to happen to the United States of America. So I tell the socialists, if you love Venezuela, if you love socialism, we'll buy you a one-way ticket to send you to Venezuela. And the United States of America, our country, has always been where immigrants come and they want to work hard and educate and make their kids into lawyers and entrepreneurs and to doctors. The entrepreneurship in America should be paramount. We want hard-working immigrants. They should be tested just like the old days, Ellis Island, tested for disease, tested for whatever. When my father came through Ellis Island, or my grandfathers, his two brothers had to sign on a dotted line that if you can't pay the rent, his two brothers had to do it. So immigration, yes, but let's have checks and balances, who's coming or going. Otherwise, we're going to lose our country. I'm concerned. Look, I'm going to be okay. I'm concerned for my kids and my grandkids to come like every other American. And we have to stop the nonsense that's going on right now.
You know, as I've said before, you always are an opportunist and you've made the right bet. What's your thoughts about the cannabis business?
Well, I'm concerned. Marijuana is, if you're 60, 70, 80 years old, enjoy yourself. But marijuana taken by our young kids, 12 years old, 13, 14, 15, 16, I believe if you talk to neurologists, talk to doctors, it will reduce their IQ by 10%, 15%. I am vice chairman of the Police Athletic League in New York City. I stopped boxing because you take 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, you hit them in the head enough times, it will reduce their IQ by 10, 12, 13, 14, 15%. So I think we have to get smarter and take care of our children uh, and worry about our children and make sure they get the right education. So our children, don't knock them in the heads. Football, we got to be very careful of. Boxing, we got to be very careful of. And it's the 21st century. I want the best for the kids born in the United States of America. And I don't want to hurt them at the age of 14, 15, 16 years old. I want them to go and get the right education and be part of the American dream and the American future.
What about sports betting? You know, it's done rather well for the state of New Jersey with the sports betting. Many people have been leaving New York, taking the bridge and tunnel to make a bet on the Giant game or to make a bet on anything. Do you see sports betting coming to New York? I believe it's going to be available in a couple of months. And what's your thoughts about it?
I think betting politicians at all times are looking for new ways for revenue dollars. I'm going to tell you something I'm concerned about, Michael. I'm concerned about the congestion pricing that we're going to cause more people not to come into our cities. I'm concerned. I have a lot of concerns. The one thing when we talk about comparison of Florida and New York City, New York State, New York City, New York State budget is $300 billion. Now, both New York State and Florida both have about 20 million people, give or take 500,000, 20 million people. The New York State budget, New York City, if you live in New York City, New York State, $300 billion. The budget for Florida is less than 100 billion. Where's the other 200 billion? And at what point do New Yorkers say enough is enough? And that's another concern.
Okay, you know, as I was talking about different real estate classes, what do you believe that the industrial market is going to continue this way? Everybody wants industrial, and another area which is really booming in New York is also biosciences. What's your thoughts on those two areas?
I think biosciences, I think internet companies have the ability to hit new heights in New York because they have a lot more money than the normal traditional industries. And if you want to work for a computer company and the average computer guy that makes $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year, what good is it in being Boise, Idaho? And I don't want to say anything bad about Boise, but New York, greatest city in the world. We have theater. We have the greatest restaurants. We have the greatest, we were the safest city in the world. So if I had an internet company that was valued at $1 trillion and I want to retain my people that I'm paying $400,000 a year to, my headquarters is going to be New York City, because I don't care if the rent is a little bit higher, but we have to maintain safe cities. We have to take care of great education. Safe cities, great education. Mayor-elect Eric Adams has said, I'm going to do that. That's important. And the third thing, the homeless. At one point, we had 30,000 mentally ill people in hospitals. You know what they did, Michael? They took those 30,000 people, there's only 3,000 people in mentally ill hospitals, threw them into the streets of New York. The mentally ill need help. I believe we don't have to build more jails. We have to build more hospitals to put the mentally ill in them. And we have to take care of those people.
John, with like 3 minutes left, what's your thoughts about developments taking place in the Bronx and Staten Island, two boroughs that have always been considered stepchildren in a way?
I think the Bronx could build tremendous buildings. They have a nice shoreline in many directions. I think the Bronx is a big future real estate development area. Staten Island has a problem. We have the bridges. You can only get there by bridge or by ferry. And when I was running for mayor in 2013, I proposed mass transit being established between Staten Island and Brooklyn and attaching it as with Unirails across the Verrazano Bridge. So you're not going to be able to build Staten Island unless you increase the the transportation problem.
What about Upper Manhattan, an area that you've known well?
I think Upper Manhattan can do tremendously. Columbia University is up there. Columbia Presbyterian Hospital is up there. It can grow, and I think it will grow.
What about Brownsville?
A little bit tougher, but it's open.
What will help Brownsville grow? I mean, lack of transportation is one of the problems.
You need transportation, and you need transportation, and you need safety in the streets.
Okay, so I'd like to say I'm happy that you've given me some of your thoughts and predictions for the new year. Thanks always for being a good friend and supporter. And I can only wish you, Margot, John, AJ, and the rest of the Catsimatidis family a very happy, healthy new year. And see you again.
Thank you so much, Michael. Happy New Year. And let's all pray for a great 2022 for New York and America.